today we are going to talk about the political thought of Madan Mohan Malviya. So, Malviya ji was born in 25 December 1861 and he lived till 12 November 1946. He was an Indian scholar, educational reformer and political notable for his role in Indian independence movement and as the four-time president of Indian National Congress. Malviya is one of the very much important also topic for us. Why? Because he is the founder of our own university, BHU. He was a national leader, an educational pioneer, a great orator, a four-time Congress president, a social reformer and a religious leader of secular order. Malviya was born in Allahabad, northwestern provinces of then India. Malviya matriculated in 1879 from the Moore Center College, which is now known as the Allahabad University. Harrison's college principal provided a monthly scholarship to Malviya, whose family had been facing financial hardship, and he was able to complete his BA at the University of Calcutta. Malviya always strived to promote modern education among Indians, and eventually he founded BHU in the year 1916, which was created under the BHU Act 1915. He was Vice Chancellor of BHU from 1990 to 1938. He is also remembered for his role in ending the Indian indenture system, especially in the Caribbean. Malviya was also one of the founders of Scouting in India. He founded a highly influential English newspaper. What was his newspaper? The Leader, published from Allahabad in 1909. He was also conferred with the Bharat Ratna Award, India's highest civilian award, on 24th December 2014. The slogan Satyamev Jayate, truth alone triumphs, is also a legacy given to the nation by Pandit Malviya as the president of Indian National Congress in its session of 1918 at Delhi, by saying this slogan from the Mundakopanishad should be the slogan for the nation. That is followed even today, we know, Satyamev Jayate. Now, what is the feature of the Pandit Malviya's political career? On account of his services to Congress, he was elected its president. It can be asked how many times he was the president of Congress. So 1909, 1918, 1932 and 1933. But owing to his arrest by the government of India, the meeting at 1932 and 33 did not bring a decision that was banned. Perhaps he tried to popularize the national cause more than many other political leaders. As a member of the legislature for many decades, he led the cohorts of the nationalism against the citadel of the bureaucracy. He was also a supporter of the nationalism and he wanted to promote it. He was a nationalist leader who had openly acknowledged his role in the as a Hindu leader. He has acknowledged his role. But his Hindu nationalism was inclusive and it always included in its fold of the Muslim. And when the leader of Hindu Mahasabha began to preach that India was truly home of only Hindus, there should be a Hindu nation, he withdraws from it. In 1928, he has joined Lala Lajpat Rai, Jawaharlal Nehru and many other leaders in the protesting against the Simon Commission. We are going to study about Simon Commission also ahead in classes, which has been set up by the British to consider India's future. Just as the Buy British campaign, it is Buy British campaign was sweeping England, he issued on 30 May 1932 a manifesto on Buy Indian movement in India. Malviya was a delegate at the second round conference table. There were 3 round conferences took place, and Dr. Ambedkar was only one leader who has attended all the 3 conferences. It was a question asked in the last year's papers. So on 25 September 1932, an agreement was made, that was the Pune Pact. It was made between Dr. Ambedkar on behalf of the depressed classes and Malviya on behalf of the Hindus. The agreement gave reserved seat for the depressed classes within the general electorate and not by creating any separate electorate. So that is a reservation, you can say reservation of the depressed classes. There was in him no tinge of the narrow sectarianism, the defying of sectarianism to ruin of the common interest of whole, which today passes muster with certain classes of leaders. Twice he presided over the destinies of Indian National Congress. Once in 1919, the Purna Swaraj session that took place at the Lahore, where the Congress actually talked about complete independence is this in this famous session only. One would look in vain in either of these addresses for the least trace of communalism. So, on coming on the nationalism, Professor V.P. Verma is of the opinion that Madan Mohan Malviya was a proud nationalist, but his vision of nationalism differed from the Western nationalism. While Western nationalism is primarily on what? On a racial and linguistic line, but his idea was based on one political entity based on geography and cultural characteristic of India's subcontinent. So it was different from the Western nationalism. So in Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya and the Formative Years of Indian Nationalism, whose author is Dr. Vishwanath Pandey, makes a case that Malviya should be recognized for his important role as a leading Indian nationalist during the formative years of Indian independence movement. Dr. Pandey argues against the categorization of Pandit Malviya as a Hindu nationalist. Pandey questions the tendency to categorize Indian nationalists all too nearly as either nationalists and Hindu nationalists and point out the significant scholarship has shown that the two categories are arbitrary and simplistic, ignore the blurred line between the nationalist and the Hindu nationalist. So there are two type of nationalists, means the normal nationalist and the Hindu nationalist. All major speeches of Dr. Malviya clearly illustrate that his anti-colonialist work in both the non-cooperation movement of Congress and in Indian legislature, his work on behalf of education in India, and his less known but no less important work supporting institutions to promote Indian technology and industry. So he was a supporter of nationalism but in a different way. On jurisprudence, in 1891, Malviya has completed his LLB from Allahabad University and he's also started to practice on it. He gave up his legal practice when he was at his pinnacle in 1911 on his 50th birthday so that he could serve the nation thereafter. So he has given up on his practice. He was well versed with the modern theories of jurisprudence based on the concept of natural law. Sorry. Mahavana left the bar in 1913 while seeking to pursue his desire to set up a world-class university at Banaras to make his priceless contribution in the country's freedom struggle. So he wanted to make a separate university especially for the Hindus, not only Hindus, for all religion, all caste, but it was named at Banaras Hindu University. So but he chose to return to his profession after 10 years only to successfully plead the cause of 156 accused in the Chauri Chaura case. His eloquent oratory and the speaking skills, presentation skills were so impressive that it moved Justice Grimwood Meyer as much that he rose from his chair on 3 separate occasions to bow before Mahavana and to express that it was an achievement of his life to have the opportunity to hear an argument of such high standard. So that was the amount of respect he got. Now, what was his view on democracy, liberalism, and federalism? Malviya was a liberal nationalist and a staunch congressman. He believed in the individual liberty in matters of faith and practice. Mahavana also believed in framing of constitutional laws as a blend of Asian India's wisdom as also modern law of jurisdiction and legal codes. He advocated for the rule of law. He supported and believed that there should be a democratic and secular government. So he has supported democracy. He has supported rule of law. Okay, Malviya has also accepted a federal form of democracy. Why? Because he believed that our country is of great diversity and its demands of various provinces should be acknowledged and their rules should be of importance. Every state of the country should be, every province of the country should be given equal importance, and there should be federal form of democracy. Also, Malviya has distant towards communism, because he in the communist wanted to arrive at a equality in society through violent method and forceful overthrow of the class and caste differences should be done away with if we are to stand at united. So he was against communism. On secularism, Malviya told that Malviya has grown up a very deeply religious family. He has grown up, his childhood was spent in a very deeply religious family and was highly influenced by his innately secular grandfather. Malviya was, according to many, a hardcore liberal. So, one who respected all religions and who asked people not to attack each other's religion. We are Indian first and then Hindu, so must so that many Muslim and Christian group often invited him to preside over their meetings. So he has supported all the caste, not only Hindus. Although he was widely considered as a Hindu leader, Malviya spoke virtually the same language as Mahatma Gandhi. Malviya believed that the government should not interfere in the personal laws of religious communities. So he was a secular thinker also. So that's all for today's class. Thank you so much.